Bull or bear? Whoa! Well, it landed in my hand. I'm going to count it as a bull. Did roll my 2014 5-ounce Everglades commemorative U.S. $quarter. I know a $quarter that weighs 5 ounces. Yes, it's true. They did make them. It's called the commemorative series. Meanwhile, take a look at this. Absolutely beautiful here in the evening. Southwest Florida live Eagle Cam here in South Florida. The fish cams are a little bit too dark to show you right now. And the live Key West cam, well, we've seen it quite a few times. And this camera I just absolutely love. I mean, what a majestic creature. And it's amazing to think that they live amongst us out here. You don't really see them too often, but they do live in the suburban areas. I'm sure there's quite a bit of food there called roadkill right there. What a great place to live for eagles, I guess. Life must be a little bit easier for them in Florida as it is for us that live down here as well. We are very blessed people that get to live in such a beautiful state, and I hope that you live in a beautiful place as well. Meanwhile, let's talk about gold, silver, and platinum and those markets. What's happened? They've kind of rebounded a little bit. You know, I was thinking that we might see slightly sub $1,800 gold, but we really haven't hit that level. You know, remember, we could still see below 1,800, but a little bit of bounce off that 1812, 1807, 1809, 1808, whatever you were looking at this past week. Same thing with silver. It was down in that mid $20 range, 2050, I think maybe a low 2060 or something like that. But certainly we were looking at the mid to high 20s for the past week or so in silver. And platinum kind of holding its own. Take a look here. Let's take a look at this chart down here. 950 to 970. So platinum's kind of recovered, and palladium, again, I don't follow it enough, so I'm not going to talk about it. All I did notice is that I'm really surprised at how cheap it seems, considering that it was much higher in the past. But you know, remember, folks, these prices right here that you see, gold, silver, and platinum, even at these levels, are bargain basement prices. They're prices that have been kept artificially low. And yes, I'm saying artificially low because they made a lot of money keeping the prices low. We've talked about how this happens in the criminal crime X markets with COMEX, silver, gold, and platinum, particularly the silver markets, and I'm sure the platinum markets as well. But it provides an opportunity for you guys to buy on the cheap, and that's exactly what these prices still are. The opportunity to buy on the cheap at, again, gold at these levels, silver at these levels, platinum, even though we're bouncing up a little bit. Could we see lower prices? Like I said, yeah, never underestimate these criminals in the crime X markets. This is, you know, the price of gold, silver, and platinum here are made on the COMEX CME Group's markets, all right? And these markets are run by a bunch of paper derivatives and a bunch of big commercial banks that you know, bet against not bet against managed money. They basically run the managed money players, and they drive these markets up and they drive these markets down. They've been doing it for decades. They've been manipulating, especially the price of silver mostly, manipulating the price of silver down for years. So again, of course the game is rigged, but if you don't play, you can't win. And you know, I'd rather have a game rigged where the game involves me buying commodity that I can buy on the cheap instead of being overpriced. So the rigging mostly takes place on the downside, but no less the market is still rigged. But you know, if you're going to rig a market for gold, silver, platinum, gasoline, lobster, whatever great commodities are out there, oil or anything, if you're going to rig prices, you might as well rig them to the downside. It benefits everybody overall that uses or buys those type of products, except if you are in silver, gold, platinum to get rich quick, because if you're in to get rich quick, you expect a double up, a triple up. I mean, that's, you know, what these get rich guys expect out there. Except gold, silver, and platinum are not get rich quick items, commodities. They are wealth preservation items, and if you do make a lot of money in the short term, good for you. It's icing on the cake. All right, man, God, it's so easy, like I said, to jump around to different things here. I'm looking at the news here, And, there's really nothing good there. I mean, good for him. I think he's absolutely correct there. I want to talk about this in a moment because I was just thinking about the huge amount of money that's been poured down there. What is it, about $100 billion plus has been put down there? And it kind of goes into a conversation that I had about what will $100 billion buy. I mean, we've all know that the current administration, love them, hate them, whatever the heck you want to do, pass them, love them, hate them, all right. There's no difference between the red and blue when it comes to this. They're all they all threw over $100 billion over into this this country right here, unfortunately. And I want to talk about what $100 billion really means, or what could have meant to the country here. Let's get out of that and get into more bad news. Nothing good out here. Terrible consequences. Oh man. Anyways. I want to move. Let's just move into what I was just going to talk about. But what is this kind of bad news? What does bad news have to do with the price of gold, silver, and platinum? It has everything to do with the price of gold, silver, and platinum, because bad news just indicates that the empire is failing, the empire is falling. And what is when the empire fails? What else fails? The currency fails, and that's what we've been seeing more so in accelerated fashion in the last year. So take a look at this. I mean, that's like a toboggan sled downward to hell. Toboggan sled, man, I haven't seen one of those in years. Rosebud. Wasn't that the name of that sled? Anyways, all right. All right, getting a little too deep for you guys there, for myself even, probably. Like I said, it's been a long day. But that's what bad news has to do with gold, silver, and platinum. It's like CPI, what your money will buy, and your money buys less and less and less every year. That's the beauty of gold, silver, and platinum, is that it maintains its buying power. A quarter, 1964 quarter, which had, 0.77, how much? Hang on. Divided by 4. Oh, no, I did it wrong, 0.72. I was thinking of a silver dollar divided by 4. There's 0.18 ounces of silver times, let's say $21 right now. $21 is $3.78 worth of silver in a silver quarter. Guess what, folks? Back in 1964, 1963, when that quarter would buy you a gallon of gasoline, and I think you can fact check me here, thereabouts, that quarter, that silver quarter in 1963-64, still made it out of silver, will still buy you a gallon of gasoline, all right? So what I'm telling you, it's about wealth preservation primarily. But at some point, because of the manipulation, the price of silver and gold, and how these markets have been artificially held low for so many years by so many different entities and reasons, you will have that explosive moment where you'll make a lot of money, gold, silver, and platinum, if you sell at the high, of the market. And we'll get into that another time. I've talked about that. There'll be a bubble territory in gold, silver, and platinum. At some point, the general public is going to find out about gold, silver, and platinum, what a great deal it is. Well, usually by the time they find out, it's about halfway up to where it's going, or into bubble territory. But you can get rich and make a lot of money on gold, silver, and platinum. You will have your oh crap moments. But timing is everything. You have to time selling all your gold, silver, and platinum at the top. And that's probably when the people that, when you start hearing from everybody, including your brother-in-law or somebody, I'm not dissing brother-in-laws, but yeah, man, you got to invest in gold, silver, and platinum. That's probably when you should sell. That'll be at its peak. Then you sell. Gold and silver and platinum do come back down again because, well, whatever reasons, I believe that'll probably be the case. Even in the gold, silver, and platinum markets, we see our bubbles here, folks. And if you time things perfectly, if you happen to get in at a fairly low price and you hit a gold, silver, and platinum bubble, and all you got to do is look at the charts, you can make a lot of money. But the object is timing. You got to be able to sell at those very tops and know when gold, silver, and platinum will back down to a more reasonable level. Because again, I do believe at some point we will see a gold, silver, and platinum bubble again. It doesn't mean that we're going to ever see gold at $1,000 again, or even $2,000 again. But I believe that when gold starts taking off into that 2,500, 3,000 plus range, there's it may be even higher, that it will back down to some level again and then steady out. But I guess I'm presuming that eventually the economic and political power makers in the world will get their shit together. So that's presuming that happens. All right, well, let's, again, nothing but bad news out there, folks. Just pure crap. What does $100 billion, when we all know that we've spent at least $100 billion in this particular, with this particular person, this particular country, and oh, here we go. Again, I'm not advocating any particular news source out there. Okay, I'm not a big fan of corporate news. I don't care whether it's this channel right here that you're probably looking at, or another channel that I believe they all suck kind of equally in their own ways. But we got this channel saying we got about 196 billion. I've heard someone north of 100 billion. So let's say 100 billion dollars plus. And this being the high side, how much we've given out of there, for people that don't particularly trust this source, and maybe it's even more than that. Who's to say? But a good conversation that I had up here, which is divide 100 billion. Now, here they're saying 200 billion, so you could double that if you want. But I'm figuring let's be real conservative and say that we've literally sent $100 billion over to this particular country right here for this particular useless war. What does that actually equate to in the price of gold? Gold's at 1838. I kind of just showed you right here, 1837, a little bit off from that. But what is that? How much gold could we buy as a nation for that $100 billion that we sent we sent another country to be used to buy weapons that maim young people and maim animals and maim nature and maim and hurt and kill. 100 billion we spent to hurt and kill and maim everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what it is. Even the poor pets out there, the cats and the dogs out there. I mean, we're a compassionate nation, but we just spent over 100 billion in death and destruction, right? So far to date, and maybe 200 billion according to some sources out there. So what does that mean in real money to what we could have done here at home, folks? So let's take 100 billion divided by 1838. What's that come to? 100 billion divided by 1838. Boy, I love this chat AI for certain reasons, all right? And you can kind of go down rabbit holes with this as well. Remember, garbage in, garbage out applies to AI programs as well as it does to humans. But 100 billion divided by 1838 is the United States. If you're conservatively thinking that we spent over 100 billion in this particular nation right here to get these kind of results, and something that we probably should have never been involved with and never started with. And if I'm in the belief that we started this back in 2014 and a regime change, when we're good at that. That's what the United States does best. We do regime changes, but they always seem to fail. All right, I digress. 100 billion by 1838 is 54,360,000. So the United States, with that $100 billion that we just spent to help murder people on both sides. I'm not taking sides on this. To send notices home to Ukraine and Russian mothers and fathers that their kids are blown apart in a field somewhere. The money we spent to help do that, okay, instead of creating peace over there, we could have spent and bought 54 million ounces of gold with. So United States, with that same money we sent for death and destruction, could have bought 54 million ounces of gold for our own country, which we could have used 4 million ounces to kind of create some kind of peace initiative out there and help the country out. All right, I digress. So I was kind of curious again, because I forgot. I know it's around 8 tons, but to give some perspective here, how much gold does the United States own? All right, that's my question. According to the most recent available data from World Gold Council, as of December 2021, the United States holds the largest reserve in the world. We know this, 8,000 tons. Part of it's supposed to be in Fort Knox, blah, 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 which is equivalent to 261 million troy ounces at the current value of market price of gold as of February 2023. And I like this. It kind of gave me some good details here. This represents a value of approximately $442 billion, okay? We've spent, what, 100 billion so far, conservatively speaking, in what particular country, doing what and why? To send notices to poor grandmothers and mothers and families that their kids are blown apart in the fields. We've spent $100 million, and according to this particular source, 196, so just double that figure right there. We could have built up our gold supply by double had we spent that money, instead of spend it on death and destruction, spend it on our own gold supply here to back up our own currency, our own well-being here, but we did not do that. And again, I digress here because we're going into a different area now. The U.S. gold reserves are held at various locations, including the U.S. Mint. Okay. And so I kind of got sidetracked with that, where it said that the gold was being held at. Here, let me get a sip here real quick. Well, give me 1 second. So I asked, is there any reason to believe that the national gold of the United States held at various locations? I kind of, boy, talk about changing topics. I went from $100 billion that we could have spent, but that's true, folks. We could have spent $100 billion or 200, and we could have bought almost half of what we own in our gold reserve right now, which would have been a smart thing to do, build up our gold reserve, not buy more weapons that are only used to create blood, destruction, and bad shit. All right, but again, here I go. It got my attention here when it said this. You see kind of the ADD that I had. I kind of was going off into how much $100 billion would buy in gold. Then I get sidetracked here, so easy for me to do, but follow with me. Is there any reason to believe that the national gold, and this is my question, for the United States held at various locations, including the Federal Reserve Bank in New York and Fort Knox, for the citizens of the United States, has been involved in a rehypothecation, possibly? And AI answered, there is no concrete evidence that the gold reserves held by the United States has been involved in rehypothecation. Rehypothecation refers to the practice of financial institutions using assets pledged as collateral for loans and then using those same assets as collateral for loans. All right. It explains what that is. Most of you might know that. If not, just kind of pause this video and read that. The U.S. gold, and then it continues to tell me the U.S. gold reserves are audited by the Treasury Department's Office of the Inspector General, as well as independent auditors. Interesting, because down below it doesn't talk about these independent auditors to ensure that the gold holdings match their official records. But this may be a flaw with this particular program. Again, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out. I may be getting some of that, and I can't really flaw the program because, again, it's just drawing on garbage, possibly. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York allows limited access to gold vault to government officials and foreign central banks representatives. That being said, the exact location of all the U.S. gold reserve is not publicly disclosed, and there has been some concerns and conspiracy theories. You notice it says concerns and conspiracy theories over the years about potential for the gold to be missing or misallocated. All right, that would have been a better word for me to use, misallocated. However, there is no concrete evidence to support these claims, blah, blah, blah. So I asked the question down here because it really didn't point it out. Did not the central banks loan out gold in the past, including the United States? Because it talks about that. There's no evidence that we've done that. But right here I said, well, we have done that before. We have loaned out gold. Did not central banks loan out gold in the past, including the United States? And again, this may be a flaw in the programming with this, but it's kind of cool. And it does eventually give some interesting answers. All right. It does concur with me. It says, yes, central banks have historically engaged in gold lending and leasing, including the United States. Gold lending and leasing involves central banks by lending or leasing out their physical gold, physical holdings to other institutions such as commercial banks or hedge funds in exchange for interest payments or other benefits. We know that we did this in the 90s. United States did this. Other countries probably did this too. They loaned out their gold for a certain amount of money. It was supposed to be returned. GATA.org pointed out these gold loans that happened back then and how was this gold paid back, how it was paid back, and really there's no information or data involved in that. It's not as opaque as you would like to think it was. All right. As commercial banks or hedge funds in exchange for interest payments or other benefits. The practice of gold lending and leasing allows central banks to earn income from their gold holdings while providing liquidity to the gold market. However, it also exposes central banks to credit and market risk, as well as the risk of not being able to recover their physical gold if the borrower defaults. Now, what I do love about this AI program is that it's not afraid to come out and say, it doesn't seem so biased that it would omit this statement right here that I just read to you. And it is true that that is the risk that the banks suffered when they were loaning out their gold reserves, or should I say our gold reserves, okay? But we never know if we've been entirely gotten paid back for that. But I move on here. And it says also the United States and other major central banks have engaged in gold lending and leasing in the past. Although the practice has become less common in recent years, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, for example, offers gold lending to its foreign official account holders, but the amounts involved are generally small and practically slightly controlled. Lots of cool questions I could continue to ask here. Lots of little rabbit holes we could jump into, but let me move along here. So I ask it, so if this is true, is it not possible this gold could still be loaned out, yet still on the books, so to speak? I don't know if you can ask a question, so to speak. I was hoping you kind of got my gist, all right, gist, I guess you would say. And it didn't answer here. It is possible for central banks to have lent out gold in the past and for that gold to be still recorded an asset on their books, although this would depend on the specific terms of the lending agreement. Had I more time and more thought into it, I would have asked, well, where are these agreements listed, and can we see the terms of these agreements and whether the agreements were met, and of course all those other questions you would want to know, if the agreements were indeed followed up, if the gold was returned. And AI also says here, when gold is lent out or leased, the borrower is typically required to provide collateral to conserve the loan, and the central bank would typically retain title to the physical gold. However, the gold may be held in custody by a third party, such as a commercial bank. Here's where commercial banks come in, folks, and it gets a little convoluted here. And the central bank would need to ensure that the gold is properly segregated and identified as their property. So this is where things get complicated here, where gold, gold that was loaned out may belong to more than one person. And did we get all our gold back when central banks loaned out all this gold? These are all these questions. And where is this data available? And where are these contracts that we can see and we can follow the money to prove that this indeed happened or available? But these are questions I thought about afterwards. Let me move along here. It says, while it's possible that some central banks may have encountered issues with gold lending or leasing in the past, such as borrower defaulting on the loan or failure to return the physical gold, central banks have strict rules and procedures in place to manage these risks and ensure the security of the gold and holdings. The U.S. government, for example, conducts regular audits of U.S. gold reserves and include the gold is properly. And of course, that threw up another red flag for me, where it says we regularly conduct audits. So my next question, obviously, is what, folks? When were the last audits on U.S. gold reserves held, and where is the data? Okay, that's kind of my thought. The most recent audit of the U.S. gold reserve was conducted in 2020 by the Office of Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Treasury. The OIG's audit report, blah, 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 kind of gives you the details on the report. According to the report, again, I like that key word, according to the report, the OIG found that U.S. gold reserves held by the Federal Reserve banks were properly accounted for and the related internal controls were effective. But again, does this tell us that there's still gold leased out? Are we still owed gold? Us as a country, us people that own gold at Fort Knox, supposedly, our country owns gold. It's not our government's gold. It's not the Federal Reserve Bank's gold. It's our gold, all right? Has that been paid back? And these are great questions. But anyway, the audit also found that the U.S. Mint's records reconciled with the records of the Federal Reserve Banks, and that all gold held at the Federal Reserve Banks appeared to be, again, a key word, appeared to be in custody of the banks, all right? That's not what I want to hear in the audit, appeared. What I want to hear in the audit is again, think about this, appeared, all right? In an audit, you want to know that it is absolutely there. A third party or somebody said it is there for sure, not appeared to be in the custody of the banks. However, it should be noted that the U.S. government does not disclose detailed information on location or specific holdings of its gold reserves for security reasons, blah, blah, blah. Which led to my next question here. So if they do not disclose detailed information or specifics, what good is the audit of themselves? I mean, I'm asking, they audit themselves. And really, auditing yourself is kind of, if you think about it, that's ridiculous. But they don't even disclose any specifics. I think if you were auditing yourself, you would give all the specifics you can, but they don't. All right, that was my question here, right here. And since we know government data can be misleading and or wrong, how and why would we trust data with no detailed information? And why would the audit not be independent audit as opposed to audit being done by the people being audited? And as you can tell, I'm comfortable asking AI this because it can keep up with all these questions, and it's much smarter than the average. It's like talking to an 8-year-old that's got all this data that it can repeat with a photographic memory instantly to you at any given time, but that data may be wrong. But again, I keep saying garbage in, garbage out. That applies to humans as well. And it says up here, it is true that lack of detailed can be. All right, ready? It is true that the lack of detailed information on the location of specific holdings of the U.S. gold can limit the transparency of the auditing process. Thank you. Absolutely true. Why? It's like asking the fox to guard the hen house. That's my opinion. Asking the U.S. to audit their own gold, asking the Treasury to audit their own gold, asking the Federal Reserve to audit the gold here, especially if there's potentially wrongdoings that have happened or problems, is like asking the fox to guard the hen house, in my opinion. But let me move on. However, it is also important to note that the audit is conducted by an independent oversight body, the Office of Inspector General. All right, how independent are they, folks? But again, I digress. Which is responsible for ensuring the integrity of the Treasury Department's programs and operation. So another government agency is supposed to ensure that another government agency, another fox is supposed to make sure that another fox is guarding the hen house properly. You get my drift here, folks? And again, AI doesn't get that. The audit process include reviews, controls, procedures, blah, 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 blah. And again, you can read this, folks. I'm not going to read all this because it's just kind of, it's what it derives from reports, official government reports. That's what it's kind of repeating here. Stuff we kind of already know. Again, it's the fox guarding the hen house. And then the independent reviewer is another fox that's watching the fox that's guarding the hen house. That being said, is understandable that some individuals may be skeptical of government data and audits. Okay. If you trust government for any reason, walk a mile in, or hold on. If you never trust someone that trusts governments, or you walk a mile in their shoes, the clown shoes or whatever. I forget that meme, but it was pretty damn good. So I asked again, is it wise to allow the audited to do their own audits? All right. And it was a really honest answer right here. The most honest answer here says, in an ideal situation, an independent auditor would be best suited to audit an organization's financial statements rather than the organization itself. However, in the case of U.S. government and its gold reserve, it's important to note that the Office of Inspector General is an independent oversight body within the U.S. Treasury Department. And again, it's like I said, this answer is saying, well, it's okay because the fox is watching the other fox that's guarding the hen house. And it just makes no sense to me. But obviously, it makes sense to the AI programmer here. And it talks about the OIG and why they're an independent review. But folks, I'm telling you, as I ask right here, why would the OIG not want an independent audit themselves, okay? Why wouldn't the fox that's supposed to guard another fox that's guarding the hen house say, listen, this is, too biased, maybe I shouldn't do this, we'll get someone else to do this? And again, it kind of says the same thing here. The audits are conducted by auditors who are not involved in day-to-day management of the gold reserves, blah, blah, blah. I don't think I got a good answer there. You can kind of read this here, but again, garbage in, garbage out. And again, I ask here, what concern would be what concern would an OIG audit on our gold reserves have for national security? Because it brings up national security here. Hold on a second. I did skip over something here. Because I asked why, the government wouldn't want an independent audit of themselves. Okay. Again, good. I almost missed this. I'm sorry. Regarding the possibility of an independent audit, the decision to conduct such an audit would ultimately be up to the U.S. government. There may be various reasons why an independent audit has not been conducted, including logistical and cost considerations. Okay, I get that. That makes sense to me. As well as this one got me going here, as well as concerns about national security and the potential impact on global financial markets. Those were really interesting. So what AI has said here is, why would the government lie about our gold supplies or the amount of gold we have, or other than security reasons, having it stolen, blah, blah, blah. And it says here clearly, it doesn't say, it says it's about national security potentially and potential impact on global financial markets. And think about that. That's a very heavy statement. It is also worth noting that the U.S. government has been historically transparent about its gold holdings to some degree of public scrutiny, blah, blah, blah. All right. Let me move along because I really kind of latched onto that question. What concern would an OIG audit have on gold reserves for our national security, especially if they are being transparent? Perhaps they are not. And it says here, it is possible that an OIG audit of the U.S. gold reserves could raise national securities in a few ways. First, the location of reserves, and it talks about security here, all right? And it tells, again, I was getting it to reconfirm what it said earlier about national security. It talks about that, yeah, you don't want to tell where all your gold is because it would be a target for theft. Although, come on, man, that's pretty lame. Who's going to steal out of Fort Knox, all right? Secondly, an audit that revealed discrepancies or irregularities. This was think about this. Irregularities in the gold reserves could undermine the confidence in the U.S. government's ability to manage its financial affairs, which would have negative consequences for the U.S. economy and financial markets. AI clearly states here that it is possible, the reason we don't have audits in gold and that there's a lot of stuff that is not audited or the government audits itself, is because it could undermine the confidence of the U.S. government's ability to manage its financial affairs. And folks, I believe 100% that's exactly what we're going on now. Now, do we own the gold in Fort Knox? Is there gold in Fort Knox? Does this country own 8,000 metric tons? And by the way, again, think about that. We just spent in a year half of that in Ukraine, what we own, something like 200. What is it? 200? Yeah, $400 billion. All right, or just anyway, it's just crazy. What we spent in Ukraine already, we could have spent here. But I'm going back to the Ukraine thing here. But no less, think about that, where our gold might be. Again, it talks about how transparent the U.S. government's been and blah, 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 historical bullshit. Again, I think that's garbage in, garbage out when it talks about how honest the government is, because we all know if you trust government, you're a clown. I'm sorry, but it's true. Anyways, folks, I thought you found that. I hope you found that interesting. And let me get into last night's video. I haven't answered any questions from videos for the last couple nights. And in fact, didn't get a chance to do last night's video. Just been so busy, folks, man. I used to try to knock these out every night, and I still do occasionally, but there are times when I miss a few days. There's times when I miss a day, and when I'm away out of town, there may be times when I miss a week, but no less, I'll be back, and I'm back tonight. Let me answer a few questions here. I'm going to move down and sort by newest first. Close your eyes if you get dizzy when I do this. Give me 1 second. There we go. Oh, I'm dizzy now. Show Pro. Cheers, man. Are you still down here? You're back in the cold country up north. I think you're down here for good, aren't you? 2 eagles, absolutely. 2 thumbs up for the eagles. Hey, let me move back to that camera. Nope, still 1 eagle there, but we had 2 the other night. Mommy and Daddy Eagle, I guess. Oh, I moved over to a Ted Butler article. Dario Perez says, I honestly don't like my local coin dealer. He pretty much looks at APMEX and tells me that the price I called him out and said, here, I plan to open my own bullion store now to run it. Don't open a bullion store, Mr. Perez, unless it's your lifelong dream. You know how to make a $2 million in the bullion business. Start with $3 million. I guess I could have phrased that differently, but it's a tough business, low margins. You have to do multiple things. When things are really quiet, trust me, SD, APMEX, JM Bullion, those companies suffer a lot. That's their primary business. So when retail gold sales kind of start to suffer, those guys get hit pretty bad. Fortunately for me, I do rare coins, paper money. I have an estate business that does other things. So I'm kind of well diversified. And that, again, actually probably helps me be very competitive in precious metals as well. But no less, keep stacking, do what you do best, man. Stay with that. Trust me, you don't want to get in precious metals business. Mattio, unless it's for stacking for your own purposes. Saw the Eagles, was singing about, yeah, man, pretty cool. Thank you, Mattio, appreciate that. I thought the Eagles are awesome, man. Usually, again, love to show the fish cams, just a little bit too late at night right now. Thanks, Ab B, appreciate that. Make some special history, show some collections. Very cool, thank you. I haven't seen you post before, so thank you, really appreciate that. Rick Engman, what's going on? Switzerland completely decoupled from gold in 1999. There, that was my question. Switzerland is actually not the oldest fiat currency right now. Gold decoupled, U.S. decoupled from gold completely in 1972, when Nixon just took us off the gold standard, and hasn't been devalued and hasn't gone to a euro or something like that, or world currency. So the U.S. Is probably the oldest fiat currency in history right now, considering that all the other ones have gone broke or gone to the euro or something like that. And the Swiss went to gold 1999. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. Pretty cool information. Let's see. Since the franc has lost only 15% of its value in comparison to the U.S. dollar time frame, it has only lost 78% of its value instead of 98%. It's a more stable fiat currency. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that cool information. Dennis says the only true way is to take the gold price in dollars, then and now you get very close to 99%. Take the gold price in dollars, then and now you get very close to 99%. That went over my head, dude. I'm having a long day. In fact, let me take a sip here because my throat is dry too as well. I talk too much. I admit it 100%. I talk too much. That's the only way guys like me can do these videos, for someone that talks too much. Yeah, 1999. Thank you, Dennis. Really appreciate that. Linda Compton says, how fun using AI. Yeah, man. I've been enjoying it. Again, it's like talking to it's like if Google was an 8-year-old that could converse with you. You know what I mean? All that data and information out there so quickly, and almost like you are talking to a real person. Let's see, but again, I know there's flaws in there. It's like everything else, garbage in, garbage out, and I always say that includes us. We're all programmed as well. Whatever garbage programmed to us, it comes out somehow. Can any of you see this? Hidden Master says there is no more printing of the paper Federal Reserve notes. There just aren't any more in the system. So whatever the system is, ooh man, that's a long one, dude. Wow, boy, you put some time into that question or response right there. You talk about derivatives, you talk about all kinds of cool stuff. Hey folks, I definitely want you to take a look at this gentleman's comments right here and let me know what you think. I'm going to read it after the show. It's just pretty long here and I got to kind of get through here, but wow, thank you, man. That is a very thoughtful, long comment there. Hidden Master, appreciate that. Rob F, what's going on? Silver Liner says a double eagle, always a beautiful sight. Yeah, they are. We did show double eagle, actually. You're talking about gold double eagles. And the double eagles we saw in last night's video, or the night before's video, Monday night's video. My favorite coins have been eagles on them, but also include American bison as well. Beautiful coins. Bisons are beautiful as well. The American buffalo and bison 24 karat coin, very cool. I think that the Roman denarii might have existed for a century, but there were multiple based on who was stamped. Yeah, there was. They used the same design, but different emperors. With Roman coins, they didn't stamp on them like 20 BC or 20 AD. You had to date Roman coins by the designs on them and who the emperors were at the time as well. Russell King says, Russell's intelligence says all fiat currencies fail. Absolutely true, Russell. Your intelligence is correct there. Wojak Kalos says, hope I didn't hack your name. $15 to $17. I just don't see it. I don't see 15 to 17. I think they're going to be lucky to get it below 20. But again, never underestimate these crooks. Never underestimate these crooks and their greed and stupidity. That's a fact. Tree 3 Climber says, so true, even eagles retire in Florida. Yes, they do, actually. I don't think they're retired. They're a young eagle couple. They still got birds in the nest. They're not retired yet, sir, but still super cool. Isn't that cool, man? Take a look at that. That's just awesome. David says yes. I forget what we're saying yes to, but yes to you too, Dave. Christopher says, is there any way for you and Ted Butler to hack the AS? I don't think so, man. I'm just a small-time country coin dealer and precious metal dealer trying to eke out a living in the big city here in South Florida. And Ted Butler, man, he's a writer, trader, retired, living his grand life, doing a great newsletter in precious metals. Yeah, we're just here to spread the message, man. So, Michael Matthews, cheers to you. Hal Brooks says Keynesian economic theory explaining the recessionary times. Again, another great comment by someone in my comment section, Hal Brooks. Thank you very much. I encourage you guys to go out here and talk with each other and answer each other in the comment section. I got a great group of commenters out there, intelligent and civil group as well. Joe McDonald says, hi, Brian. Got to say, James Brown of Precious Metals. Oh man, it's funny. My good friend Marcelo today said that there's one thing I am when it comes to YouTube videos is consistent, and I got to tell you, it gets a little hard sometimes. Sometimes I can't. Don't know what to say on these videos. How many times can you talk about premiums? I talk about it once a week or a couple times a week or 3 or 4 times a month. That's very good data and pertinent information for everyone out there. You all can learn from that. But, just repeating how these markets are crooked and the crooked climax. I mean, at some point, I just get so tired of talking about it over and over. And then there's other times I start to realize, yeah, it is repetitive. A lot of the stuff we say in these videos is repetitive, especially, if you're talking the truth when it comes to silver and gold markets and precious metals markets. There is a lot of repetitive stuff out there, which includes the manipulation in the CME Group's markets and all that stuff. So it is hard sometimes. You're thinking like, oh man, Thursday night, I got to do another video. What am I going to talk about? Gosh, markets got monkey hammered again tonight. Where did they get monkey hammered? In the criminal Crimex markets again tonight. What are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we got to talk about that. Why they're dead. It does get old sometimes. And again, I'm just sharing personal stuff with you guys. Hey, thanks for watching, Joe. Appreciate that. That's not mommy, Harry. Oh man, cool. I was wondering. Someone said that the mother eagle for those little eaglets left or died or killed or something like that. Harriet left nothing has not been seen or found for weeks. That is Daddy M15 and a new visitor. Wow, a new visitor. I guess is that like a foster parent coming in to help? I don't know. Pretty cool information though. Thank you, Marguerite. Appreciate that. Strongman says, Brian, what is fair price to pay for junk silver 20 times or less? Yet less than 20 times. Hold on. Let's see here. 20. God, what the heck did I say the price of silver was here? 21. Here we go. Let me tell you one not to pay more than on 90%. Do not pay more than with silver at 21 bucks. Don't pay more than 17.7 times the face value. Try to pay that or less. All right, don't pay 20 times. That's just too much money. Canio Diablo says maybe Swiss printed less. Yeah, that's probably true. Thanks, Canio. I haven't seen you comment before. Really appreciate your comment there. Looking forward to more. Brent says, hey, what's up, Brent? All the talking heads are talking about the Great Reset. If you think it's coming, what does it mean for Nasara? I've had a few customers mention Nasara. Very smart people, too, have mentioned me Nasara. I've kind of read into it. Looked into it. I don't want to say that it's not true and that it's conspiracy stuff because, man, we're just living in crazy times. You don't know. But I got to tell you, I don't know. I don't really believe in the Great Reset, and I could be completely proven wrong. I just believe that we're going to continue to see our fiat money, our dollar, just buy less and less and less over our lifetimes, and the political situation get worse until hopefully it gets better. That's the whole, I'm an optimist. I hope it gets better. I hope the economic situation gets better. But at some point, it's like everything else in life. Sometimes it's just got to hit rock bottom before it bounces back up or even recovers to any degree. And I don't think we're in the I think we're in the fall period, not even the bounce period yet, and hopefully the rebound. I don't think we're even in the rebound period as politically or economically. But anyway, that's my opinion. And again, another reason I think it's great to own gold, silver, and platinum, because you'll never wake up and hear it went bankrupt. And by the way, as you know, I was going to do my advertising, but you want to wait till the end? Okay, we'll wait till the end. All right, listen, folks, I've been having fun out there. I am... here we go. Where am I? I am Brian Kuzar on Twitter, and I don't have a lot of followers. I hardly ever use this thing. Just recently, I kind of been playing around with it. A few of you guys have been friending me out here and commenting. But I'd like to show you a message that I have been pounding home. The CFTC does have a Twitter site, and I've been out there kind of slamming them. What have I been slamming them with? Well, I've been slamming them. I've been slamming them with stuff like this. Look, CME Group, CFTC, all the people that sit on the board. These 5 questions that I've asked, which is, again, Ted Butler asked these questions, and I'm kind of really parroting what he asked. These 5 questions that COMEX CME Group fails to answer, never answers. I'm going to let you pause this page and read this if you'd like to, but here's what I've been writing on their page, their Twitter page here. for the last week or so and just kind of bombarding them with these 5 questions. And if you're on Twitter, I advise you to do it as well. And make sure you hit me up on Twitter as well here at Brian Kuzmar. Meanwhile, if you find for some reason you can't find me on this particular forum that we're watching right now, this particular social media channel, maybe you'll find me on this one. So I'm just, backing things up. I always say it's good to back up your data, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. And listen, if you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum in any quantities between $1 worth to millions of dollars worth, make sure you come see us at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. We're a brick and mortar store. We're not an internet store, so I'm sorry, folks, we don't do internet sales on precious metals. But we do beat the internet guys like APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion. We do beat the prices of the biggies out there, and so if you live in South Florida and you want to buy gold, silver, and platinum, we're the people to see, and we'll beat the locals as well. And really, that's about it. I'm going to call it quits. It's been a long day again, and make sure that make sure you do something, man. Gosh. Collectorama show. We got a new one coming up here June 22nd. But you know what? I got a whole couple months to advertise that to you guys and show you that show and why you should attend if you live in South Florida. Meanwhile, thanks again for watching. Make sure if you're looking for gold, silver, and platinum, you live in South Florida, that you come to our store. We will take good care of you. Have a good night, and talk to you soon. Bye now.